And we're back for another Spartans Finest Road to the Top 50 video. As you see, we are at leaderboard position 210, or we were after yesterday's op. Yesterday's op, a case of what could have been a missed opportunity. We had a longtime player fail to show up for the attack, and so we had 9 attacks. We left one base standing that coulda, woulda, shoulda been taken down had he showed up. So player's no longer with the team, but onwards and upwards here. So let's get to the attacks. We'll start with Axiom. Fingers. This one I believe was very, very, very close. We'll speed it up at the beginning and slow it down as it gets closer. See, we're going with all Zuka here. This, the attacks here represent the last attacks that we did with the extra 40% Zuka. As those of you who are current Boom Beach players no doubt know, the tribe boosts offered this week are not very spectacular at all for operations play. Oh yeah, you see their fingers did end up getting super, super close for as many Zukas as he lost right there. And yeah, you see that's the thing. I mean, you know, you coulda, woulda, shoulda yourself to death. You know, had fingers been able to get a little bit more, we wouldn't have needed that last attack. But the name of the game, if you're pushing for the leaderboard, guys, is you have to show up for each and every operation. Ultimate Cleats, a friend of ours from years of play and still is in the Spartans Elite Task Force, I always used to say, takes 5 minutes to hit ops in a 24-hour period. And while that's certainly an oversimplification, it's fairly true. Now here, SD on Javanese, and he admitted this to us in the game chat. He simply ran out of GBE, which is obviously why the shocks on the rockets and shock launchers didn't occur. One of those things, you know, that's a long walk, these long smoky walks, especially when you're the first guy hitting that base and you have to be the one who's clearing the mines and whatnot. It's you know, the GBE can run out, and unfortunately for SD, it did in his case. Here's Bix doing some clearing on strange attractors. We knew this was going to be a base that couldn't be soloed, and so was very much a case of just trying to set it up for the next guy. That's, you know, that's kind of the rule we have here at yeah, and surprisingly, I'm not even sure how or why. I guess, yeah, there must have been one girl peeking. That's the ridiculous thing about the laser, is that even if you're at the edge of the beam, that beam will then continue for a fair amount of distance beyond this edge here, and it will eat through quite a few of the Zukas. And so pretty much mission accomplished. I mean, he definitely set it up for the next guy to just come in and kill it. But yeah, those pesky lasers, it's kind of the reason I have one on my base. Now, when I did the notes for this base, I said that the core could be hit from either a 12 o'clock or a 3 o'clock position. Now, SD in his attack went for the 3 o'clock position right over here. Jersey is obviously going for the 12 o'clock position right here. And just microscopically late on some of those shocks, or it could have been a case of it not registering. We've all had that happen to us from time to time. So he does clear everything for the potential no shock finish. Cleared everything out there. Now, unfortunately, this does mean that a third attack is going to be necessary on this base. And as we've talked about in a 10-man task force, really don't want to have to spend more than 2 hits on any one base. Because if you do have to spend 3, then almost everything else has to be a solo. And as we know from the intro here, unfortunately we needed every one of those 10 attacks. So Spartacus here just took a little bit of Ruka, took a 2-6 Ruka in here, just did some clearing. And it works, totally works. After Bix got done with this one was going to fall in a variety of approaches. And here is TN Bob finishing off Java. Now TN Bob prefers the 3 o'clock positioning. And yeah, there was a little bit of a discussion. Not a hot discussion, but a little bit of discussion before he went in with, I know Jersey was recommending the 12 noon position, but Bob made this work, and because usually up here where these mortars are, usually there's rockets there, which is kind of one reason that we tend to go to this position, which is usually a 3 shocker, and work can be done just the way Bob did it there. Okay, some shocks were burned. Or excuse me, some sabotage. We had a surplus of intel, and this Machina, especially with me, I only have 6 instead of 7 GBE. So I did critters, couple of barrage to clear the mines, and then I wanted those out of the way just in case. 3 smokes, and then a flare point there at what we would call 730. And then 5 shocks, and I was a little bit not getting this one right here, but I knew I had to throw them early. If you guys know my videos here, I'm throwing shocks early. A couple girls peeked, and these 2 machine guns took away just enough girls that, combined with the early shocks, the shocks run out and vaporization on my ladies, and just in the nick of time did that last salvo of rocket fire get out, or this would have also been a base that we would have left standing, kind of like we did with Axiom. And speaking of Axiom, then with the player who didn't show not showing, because there were more, as you see, 123 force points on this base, it was the right decision to take this one. And unfortunately, the base that has 94 was left unhit, while it was very much a soloable base. So there you have it, guys. Like I say, we're up to 210. Probably could have been about 200 if we would have had those extra points, but we're still moving up. We've added a new player in Azim, and I am very confident that he will be reliable, and as well as Lance. Lance is this is his first stop with us. This one we're not in the video, but we'll see his attack tomorrow. And yeah, onwards and upwards. Should be maybe cracking that top 200 if we get the win today. Anyway, we'll see you soon for the next one.